Welcome to another episode of Point and Click, and as always, I am Adam Razak.
And I am Jordan C. Johnson.
And today we're going to be talking about the third episode of Tales from the Borderlands, Catch a Ride.
Yeah, catch a ride.
I'm
going
to assume just the tone of your voice that you're not too crazy about this.
This is kind of when I'm starting to really lose interest in this whole group of characters and this adventure they're on. I don't know. I feel like there's just not a lot going on for me here. In terms of decisions, in terms of compelling. I don't know. I guess narrative or character beats. I'm just. It's losing me. I think the one thing I like about this episode is I like the introduction of Valerie. I think she's a good villain for the series, and I like that they keep up the idea that this group is in over their heads at every turn. Any time you think they might be getting a step ahead, something new pops up like Valerie, and they're right again, kind of being screwed over at every turn. I also, actually, I shouldn't say that's the only thing. I also like Gortys, who is adorable.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Overall, when that final set piece started and you're being shot at and dodging and all this stuff, I'm just getting really borderline bored with this. And I think some of it may be that Telltale's gameplay during action set pieces is not very good. But yeah, it's losing me. I just keep seeing things that I can't do. It's forcing me not to reveal to any of the group that Handsome Jack is in my head, even though I try to over and over again. It's just, I don't know. It just feels like nothing but limitations after a while.
I think this particular episode for me, I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. I think I know that I like what's going on, and there are certain elements of this episode that I highly respect and highly appreciate, but I did grow kind of weary of this episode, just particularly in the middle. Everything that has to do with the doctor that's in there, and your exploration of his hideout, and you have to go through every single little thing that's in there, and it's boring.
It's really tedious, and
especially when you have to all the clues. You have to he has apples that he hasn't eaten, therefore and I'm I don't care. Get to the good shit.
It also doesn't help that apparently this game's checkpoint system is terrible.
Yes,
I got interrupted and I had to come back to it, and I had to replay that whole part again, even though I had gotten to the next scene. Oh my god, it was brutal.
Yeah, I remember I finished the bit with the doctor, and then you were moving on to where the group kind of splits up again, and I had to stop and leave, and then I'm please don't tell me I have to do that all over again. And I quickly reloaded it, and I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, it's long and it's tedious.
Yeah. If you had cut out that entire middle bit and just saved the bullshit, just cut out the doctor character completely, because he has absolutely no use in this story at all.
As you're playing that part, it's I don't care who this person is, and he has no effect on anything.
Yeah. He's another guy that you could potentially get for the final battle at the end. I get that, but it's he's not in this series, a series that in my opinion has some of one of the most interesting group of characters I've ever come across, buoyed by some of the most interesting side characters, one of the best villains that Telltale's ever done.
Oh boy.
This character, this freaking doctor, just sucks, in particular compared to everyone else. Completely devoid of anything remotely interesting.
Yeah, he's not good. No. Is it possible for Vasquez to live through this?
No.
No, okay. It feels like such a weirdly unceremonious death for this character who's been built up for the first 2 episodes.
Yeah. But I liked that. I kind of liked that because it really it does give off the sense that Valerie is not someone to fuck with.
Yeah, but I also kind of wish, like, I feel like there's just so much wasted. Like, why isn't Reese being given a chance to kill him or make a decision not to kill him or something? Like, there's so much more they could have done with that. And it was just kind of like, oh, well, I guess that's over. And all right. Even though, like, the dynamic, like, that hostile dynamic between Vasquez is one of the things I think is interesting about the franchise, or about the series, I should say. And then, like, to have that just removed, so, like, just, like, nothing like that, it's like, well, I guess that's one piece I was kind of interested in.
I still really liked, like, I don't know about the, I think, like, the relationship that they have somewhat ends with the last episode where you finally get the upper hand over him with the car bit, but, like, everything else after that is just kind of like, okay,
Why?
whatever.
And begs the question, like, I brought up in that when we talked about that episode,
Yeah.
how frustrated I was that you weren't able to kill him in that moment. If he's just gonna die like this in this episode, why couldn't I have killed him before?
Because that wouldn't give Valerie her moment.
But they could have done something else with Valerie. They could have had her kill, what's his name? The blonde-haired guy.
But that's her son.
Yeah, it's just so lazy, though. Like, it's just, the whole point, like, I get why they're doing it, but as I say over and over, like, if it's a branching narrative, there should be more than one way for that to play out. Like, that's just laziness. Like, and it's just to the point of where it just makes it unsatisfying if you're trying to play it a different way.
Like I said, I get that. It's just I like everything that they've done so far with all these characters. It's just this episode kind of was like, it's a rough ride going through. Even as someone who, like, adores these characters, it was just like, can this be over with, please?
Yeah,
like,
and I mean, I don't even have
on.
that. Like, I don't like any of these characters. I don't feel invested in them. Like, the only arc I think is potentially interesting is Reese, and by the end, as we'll discuss in those episodes, like, that kind of putters out for me and doesn't satisfy what I want it to. So, and again, it's just, from the angle I'm coming from with Reese, where, like, I want him to kind of grow to embrace this sort of, like, greedy dickhole temptation. Like, they could have done so much more with Vasquez and with planting that seed of Vaughn feeling like, it is Vaughn, right? The Chris Hardwick guy. I think it's Vaughn.
The friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Vaughn.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's even like they plant that seed halfway through where he's like, feels like Reese is, gonna abandon him because Reese is like the cooler guy, and he's gonna be left on the curb. And, like, there are so many things you could do with that if Reese actually had the option and the temptation to give into that. I mean, the game's eventually not going to allow it, but it's just stuff like this where I'm like, why even set this stuff up if it's not going to go anywhere?
Well, and I do really like the direction that it goes with, just because it plays much more into what I like to see from this series.
Sure. But it's one direction.
Exactly, and that's where it's conflicting for me. It's like I enjoy it so much, and yet I recognize that for anyone else, it's like this could be painful.
Yeah.
If they don't want to be all happy, everyone's like good friendship, it's all a nice ending, but there's just something about it that is like so appealing to me that I can't help it. I'm just like, I love this. I just love how this all like comes together. Even at like the end of this episode when, like, everyone's like in a bad spot with Valerie, and it's like I actually did fear for them in the end, and I was happy to see that Gorgeous gets the new piece and she becomes more powerful, and Loaderbot and her start to develop kind of a thing, and it's cute, and I love it.
I mean, I don't disagree. It's just very unfulfilling if that's all the game is for me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think any of the other Telltale games I've played have been that lightweight. Like, there's always something else to them. And I get that, like this is their one series. I mean, not counting Guardians of the Galaxy because I haven't played it yet. But this is the one series that is very sort of, it's decidedly light in tone. It has a lot of humor to it.
Yeah.
Which something like The Walking Dead does not. But even so, like, I don't really think that's an excuse to just abandon any, dramatic satisfaction or thematic idea. Like, it's just kind of like, why does it have to be one or the other? Why can it only be about friendship if the tone is light? You know?
Sure. That's the thing that I've had like a lot of conflicting thoughts about, like with the lead up to this, talking about this on this show, even going back to it, I've been thinking like thematically, I don't think there's really a lot to talk about, because it's you and I are kind of at like that fork in the road where it's like well, I'm going left and then you're going to go right, but it's kind of like, where do you go from there? Because there's really nothing like aside from like very small things here and there, there's nothing really like thematically intriguing about the series. It's just it sticks with one tone. It sticks with like the big, well, not sticks with it 100% of the time, but it is very much, you know, a goofy road trip buddy kind of thing. And it's like, if you're into that, you're gonna like really enjoy it. But if you're not and you want to try something else, there's not a lot to really like debate here, at least for me, because I understand where you're coming from, and this may seem like lazy on my part, but it's like I can't really think of any like logistical reasons why the lacking of any like real meaningful choices should be acceptable.
Well, I mean, it's also like I feel like even in the, you know, the what they set up and the characters they build and stuff, I mean, they could have explored more, like this the idea of, you know, these sort of like orphaned people finding a new family together. Yeah, that is super, super rich, fertile ground that lots and lots of movies and stuff have explored to interesting and satisfying effect. Even like all the Fast and Furious movies, especially the most recent one, like they all explore that and really, like, I think, kind of moving and interesting, unique ways, but they just kind of don't do anything here. It's all just so jokey, and it's all just so just about friendship that like there's just nothing for me to latch onto.
See, I disagree there. I really like it as this big coming together from this like ragtag group of people that initially dislike each other immensely, and I really like that they do go through the shit together, and they actually grow to, you know, care about one another, like one another. And that's I find it completely compelling, especially like if you decide to go with like the relationship with Sasha with Reese or whatever, like stuff like that. I think is little things that gets me more invested in stuff like this, because I'm like, I really, really like it when there's like some kind of like romance involved here, and like I think Sasha's a cool character, so I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go with Sasha. It's great. So I like that. I like that aspect to it.
I mean, yeah, but it's also, for me, it's all just, it stays so much on like a straightforward character level that's what I find kind of unfulfilling. Like, it's never, for the most part, I don't know if it's visualized. I think you could maybe argue that the last episode where like they all kind of come together into this one big machine could be a visualization of that coming together as a family. But for the most part, like, I mean, that's one sequence in the last episode of 5 episodes. I mean, and I guess if that's all you want out of this relationship, I can see why that would be satisfying. But if, like, for me, again, like, if that's all, that's just, it's too little. Like, it's one thing if, like, you have a 2-hour movie that culminates with, like, one visualization. So, for example, like, in The Fate of the Furious, like, there's this sequence where one of the characters at the end is literally shielded from death by all of their other like found family members protecting them from this like this fire that would have been burning them up. And that's like to me in the movie and in the moment, that's like a very powerful visualization of a lot of the themes that have been built up throughout this movie. And the movies before that too. But I mean, in this series, when I'm playing 5 like 2-hour episodes with all these characters making choices, trying to build dramatic arcs for them, and like if it only comes to that one moment where there really aren't really even any choices involved, and that's the only way it's going to play out, I don't feel that same emotion and like fulfillment from it. It's just it's too little for all the personal investment I've put through building these characters in various ways.
See, I think this is where like our fundamental differences with what we look for in this kind of entertainment, because I don't mind it when it's just talking. Like, I really don't. I mean, if there's like a key visualization of them coming together, like that's great, and I like that. But I don't necessarily need that for me to like really get invested in this idea of them coming together. Like, if they just talk about it and say, you know, hey, I really like you. Hey, I really like you too. And they do it in like kind of, not like, they don't do it like so beat you over the head with Tales from the Borderlands. It's more like you see them like slowly but surely come together as like this family unit. And by the end, when they're getting into the big gorgeous robot and fighting, and that's like just the ultimate like, yes, here we go. And by the end, when like actually no, I better not go there because I'll be talking about episode 5.
I think it really is. I mean, I know we're like jumping way ahead in the series here,
Yeah.
but like, I think it also is just a question of tone, really. Like, I mean, that whole sequence, that whole final moment is played so like light and fun and jokey that there really isn't a lot of opportunity for me for like emotional satisfaction there, because it's also distant. It's got this sort of like Guardians of the Galaxy-esque fun built around it. You know what I mean? Where it's just, that to me keeps me at an arm's length. Whereas something like, you know, like the Fate of the Furious scene, it's that whole, I mean, of course, that whole series is over the top and crazy. It's crazy, you know what I mean? But when they have dramatic moments that mean something thematically to the characters, they always play them earnestly. And I really appreciate that about that franchise. Like, that moment I was describing is not played like as a laugh. It's not played to be fun. It's not played to be light. Like, they let the, you know, the dramatic meaning of that moment breathe without like having to make it funny or fun. You know what I mean? It's just this kind of really beautiful little like oasis in the middle of this crazy action set piece, and I love that about it. Whereas like Tales from the Borderlands, it's just all humor all the time, and like what you're talking about of, you know, characters just coming to gradually like each other and just like even saying so, that does nothing for me. Like, that kind of straightforward, like just talking like you're saying, like, you know, that's just completely antithetical to what I want out of art.
Well, I don't even necessarily agree that they have that like jokey, like elbow ribbing tone throughout like the whole thing. I think it is goofy, it is wacky in a lot of times, and it does sometimes have a very like sarcastic tone to it, but I don't think it's on the level of something like a Guardians of the Galaxy. Or I'm just talking about the first one, where like the whole time, like that last battle against whatever the fuck that guy's name was, where they have like the stone or whatever. I don't fucking care. That shit where, and then he does like the dance off thing.
God.
And I'm like okay, like you're not helping me. You're not selling me on this idea of Peter Quill finally accepting a family, and like after the loss of his mother, it just, that whole bit just comes off as like really like, we need a laugh here. We can't have it be serious. Have him dance now or something like that. I don't think it ever goes that bad. And when it does do something like that, it stays really consistent with how the previous scenes have been going. They don't have a moment where like this character is like they're in like serious death, where the main villain is like, I am not going to fuck around, and then one of them just starts dancing or something like that. I don't think there's that shitty of a moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as egregious as Guardians of the Galaxy for sure, but it's just like I said, it's too lightweight, like by design for me.
I like that lightweightedness, because when the darker moments do come around, they do feel much more impactful, and even like the darker moments,
but like,
they
which
don't.
Moments? Like what
like,
darker moments?
Like a certain character's death in episode 4, or like the last like emotional beat, the big emotional beat of episode 5, or the bit even in episode 5, the scene that happens before you, like the credits, not like the opening credits roll. There's like, I'll get into specifics in later episodes, but like those moments, like especially in like the last episode, I find fucking compelling. Like, just like I had like tears in my eyes during some bits of the last episode, and they don't play it like as a joke. They play it as like this is some really heavy shit going down, like with the visuals, with the music that plays. And I'm specifically just like talking about the bit before the opening credits in the last episode. But it's some heavy shit that happens in it, particularly if you don't know what's going to happen next.
Oh, I mean, I guess we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah. See, that's the thing about this episode. It's much more interesting to talk about things that happen later, but there's so much
It's very much a middle episode. Like, nothing really... I mean, it's kind of weird to even say that, because an event that should be huge does happen, which is that Vasquez is killed. Like, that should be big, because he's been a big, villain through the first 2 episodes. But it doesn't really feel that big. Like, it's just kind of like, well, okay. Like, it's just a connecting little bit where things are introduced, and that's kind of all it is. I think Gortys is the highlight.
I think Gortys and Athena are the highlights. Like, I love
Athena's a good
Athena
character too.
Love Athena. But like that's the weird thing about this episode. It's like usually when Telltale was first starting out, like some of the middle episodes are the best ones. Like in season 2, like the whole bit with Carver, best episode. The whole bit with the train, one of the best episodes in my opinion. If probably when we get to Wolf Among Us, I'll probably remember what happens in the 3rd episode. I'm sure it's good, or else I wouldn't like that series. But it's even like Game of Thrones. There's the whole episode where it's one of them. It's like one of the ones where like
there are lots of good middle Telltale episodes, basically.
Yeah, even Minecraft has a decent one. It's just this one is like, it's okay. Stuff happens. It's funny, I guess. It's all right. I guess one of the things, like, if we're gonna get into like the whole fucking, the whole like socio-political thing, it's like one of the things I really respect about this episode, like this series in particular, and I guess Telltale's attitude towards it in general, is like I love how completely like like that much of a big deal it is that Athena is gay. Like I didn't even, it's like it's done so subtly and it's done so matter of fact in a way that it's not like knocking you over the head with it. It's like it's just, this is a person that is in love with another person who is going through problems like her own like trust issues and being able to properly communicate with her partner. And I think that like little moments like that where because so many games now just like have to go like, hey, here's our gay character, hey, here's our transgender character, we have to fill in that quota. And it's like the whole diversity for like cynical reasons, like what the last Assassin's Creed did. But here I think even like in other Telltale series, like Michonne has a gay character, like a gay couple in it that like are just, they're gay, they're happy and they're in love with each other, and that's fine. They do that in the Walking Dead season 2 with Walter and Matthew, same thing. They do that in what is it? I'll think about it later. But it's just done so like it's there. It reminds me a lot of
yes.
If you've ever seen Milk with Sean Penn, there's a bit in the beginning where he's in love with James Franco's character, and it's like it's two people, they're in love, they're happy, and it's all about this movie about like him being like a big figure for gay rights, but it's just this core relationship that he has with James Franco. It's just played completely like as not a big deal. It's just, hey, two people in love, great, cool. Same with Athena. I love it. Like that's the thing I like. Probably my favorite bit of this episode. And that's the thing with the last episode, you can completely miss that whole encounter with Athena and her girlfriend. You can miss it, and it's such a good moment. But they explain it as well in this episode, because you have Athena and you just have this person that you come to respect as this badass assassin and a somewhat mentor to Fiona, but she's not all badass. She does have her own problems in like personal relationships, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Athena's a strong character, and I think it kind of illustrates the part of my issue with this series is that I think Athena's a really good character. I think Loaderbot is funny. I think Gortys is a great character. I like Valerie. But it all kind of underscores that I think by far, to me, the four least interesting characters in this group are the four main characters, which is a bit of a hurdle. Like I don't like Reese at all. I don't think Fiona is interesting at all. Like Sasha and Vaughn are just kind of background noise to me, and like that is frustrating. And I think I know like one of the first like counter arguments everyone's going to think of to that is, well, in like an RPG or any kind of decision based game, by design, the playable characters generally are going to be the least interesting because they have to.
That's not necessarily true.
Right, I agree. I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like I understand where people are coming from with that. Where there needs to be a certain degree of pliability based on how you're going to play that character. So they need to have a certain amount of blankness. But I don't really think that's true in practice in other like RPGs I've played before. I mean, like. Again, like in the Mass Effect trilogy, like sure. I don't think Shepard is an uninteresting character at all, and he can be. I mean, he or she can be developed in all kinds of different ways depending on how you play them. But I don't think they're a boring character. Especially like there's this really like interesting quote. Not like a quote, but I don't remember where I heard it. But it's like someone had pointed out that like Shepard in that game is your friend, your hero, and you all simultaneously, which is like a really interesting concept if you like start to think about it. Like, and again, just goes into this what I've mentioned before, that I think video games are like this really interesting new plane for art, and like you can learn about yourself in different ways through different characters. But I don't really get that out of Reese or Fiona at all. Like I just find them really unappealing characters that I'm not really interested in playing, and that's a big hurdle for me.
See, to me, they're almost like a family unit that I like these friends that I can hang out with and have a good time and enjoy myself and go on this like awesome adventure with them. And it's even like Vaughn, I don't think is really background noise. Sasha, I think is interesting. Fiona, I really like. Reese is. He's all right. Like I like him more as the series goes on. He could have
been the most interesting character if they had done anything with him.
I think it's just because I had a bad impression with him from the first episode. I just find him really boring in that episode. But everything else after that, I think he's like, well, the way I play him at least, I think is really enjoyable for me. But
I don't know. They're all just such like awkward teenagers, like to a distracting degree, like for the kind of narrative that they're put into.
I think they're eccentric. I don't know about awkward teenagers.
I don't know. Like the whole like romance between Sasha and Reese is so like embarrassing. Like he is such like a little child through all that stuff, and it's just like, oh my god. I understand. I mean. I understand how you could argue that it's serving this sort of idea that, again, these are characters who are in way over their heads, and compared to all these other seasoned people around them, they're coming off like, complete amateurs,
Yeah.
But there's a way of doing that that's like compelling, and for me, this crosses a line where it's like, I really am annoyed by these like children in this that I'm supposed to be playing.
Wow. See, I couldn't disagree more with the whole Sasha and Reese thing. I think that's I love that. Like I said, I love that the option is there, and I like the way it plays out, where he's just like, even in the concept of freaking getting together with the opposite sex, he's just like so way like in over his head regarding it. Just he has no idea what to do. He just becomes a bumbling idiot like always.
But that's what I mean. Like how old is he? Like how old is he supposed to be? Like why is he that much of a bumbling idiot?
Yeah, but you could still be like that at whatever age he is.
Yes, but man, is it like painful to sit through for me?
I think the way they do it is like they don't make like a huge big deal out of it. It's like a side thing that you can get into with Sasha. It's like never required to finish the game. It's there, and if you play it, I think it's cute. But if you just ignore it completely, then it's like well, you're not really missing a lot, because you still get them like getting together as friends, and I think that's cool in itself.
Yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from. It just it does not work for me.
I think I'll call this episode "The Power of Friendship."
I think you should call the whole series The Power of Friendship.
That'd be great. Just make that the second game. Tales from the Borderlands: The Power of Friendship. I'd buy that like instantly.
I definitely would not be playing that if it was called that.
That'd probably be like one of the few I'd buy day one anymore.
But see, even that, like, I don't understand. Like this whole series feels like weirdly childish to me. Mm-hmm. Like the characters all being so awkward and bumbling to like this extreme degree, and the theme just being about friendship, which is like the kind of stuff you would learn about in like Thomas the Tank Engine. Like,
fuck yeah, you do.
I just like that's for me where it's like, this is it. This is all we're doing. Mm-hmm. Like, there's got to be more than this for me.
I think like the concept of the power of friendship can be fucking shit, like in theory. I just think the way they do it here is entertaining for me, and I can get into it. Like something like what's a good example? Something like I don't know, like fucking I suck at coming up with examples today. Oh my god.
That's right. You can edit this part out until you think of it.
Or I guess like if I were to bring up Minions or whatever, because that's the like shit that I fucking like. All that with the fucking Minions walking around and them coming together with friendship, that just bores the hell out of me. But because they don't do anything with it, they're just a bunch of fucking blobs. They're just gibbering blobs, and I hate them.
They're just little yellow pill people.
Yes. Racist, horrible, yellow pill people.
Oh, man.
They're horrible. I hate them. Why the hell do they exist? I hate them. Fucking die. Jesus.
I have not seen any Minions-related movies.
Oh, my God.
No.
I had to sit through the... Admittedly, Minions is better than Despicable Me 2. Despicable Me 2 is just racist garbage. I'm not going to get into that on here, but...
All right.
I'll just say it. So we went from talking about fucking Telltale to fucking Minions. That's what Tales from the Board... That's how uninteresting this episode is.
I guess.
God damn. Oh, boy. I do like the finale though. Like I know you don't like the action that goes on in this episode, but I really like that final set piece with the big chase, particularly with like the whole meanwhile back at the ranch aspect to the whole Fiona dealing with that idiot bumbling pair of minions that have one of them like the fucking mustache and the other one with the hair, where he can like shoot his hair and like burn it and piss him off and be sarcastic with him. I love that. I love how like the whole journey is like moving upwards to get Gortys's last piece, and then when she finally gets it, she turns into an even like bigger badass. So I really like that action scene. It's a shame that it had to come after fucking long. Even all the bit with the jellyfish and teaching Fiona how to shoot the plant. It's like that's interesting in theory. It's just everything around it is so unnecessary. You can have much more interesting encounters with Fiona as Athena. Fiona as Fiona with Athena, and have that get the point across about how you need to be trained by Athena to be better. You don't need to have this long trek through this boring ass jungle and get to this bit where you just tear off one flower. That's about it.
Yeah, it's not a great payoff.
No. And I think that's like one of the biggest problems I have with any of the character interactions in this is like if you decide to go with Fiona actually like wanting to become like Athena, there isn't enough time really spent with Athena to get that point across. Like even like you say the treatment of Vasquez is a big problem with you. My bigger problem is how they treat Athena in terms of her importance in the story. Like she's just completely taken out at the end of this episode. When I wanted her around for the rest of the series, and then it's like, no, done.
Yeah, there's I mean, I'm sure we'll get into all this as we go, but yeah, I see what you're getting at.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really all I can think about with this episode.
Yeah, they're really. I mean, it's really not a lot. It's a pretty lightweight episode overall.
Yeah, it's like the only like really, I guess, quote unquote meaningful choices are just things that are brushed completely aside. Like, will you let go of Sasha in that moment when you're dangling from the thing? Do you let Valerie pick you up when you're on the ground? And it's like, who cares?
Right. They're very minor choices.
Yeah. I dislike this episode the more I think about it.
Yeah.
I really do. I just find it mediocre. I don't even like hate it. I just think it's just meh. It's just meh.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I used to really like this episode, which is the weird thing.
And like, I mean, it's meh, but it can become aggressively meh.
Yeah.
Like when you have to play through it for so long, and you're just
God.
like, okay, can we like get to the point? Like, what are we doing?
It should become a rule among Telltale games that it needs to save with like every dialogue option. Don't give me this shit where you go on for like 20 minutes without saving, and then I need to leave, and then make me play the 20-minute bit over again.
Yeah,
don't pull that shit. 'Cause I'm not gonna want to play your fucking game anymore.
Wow, getting heated.
Yeah. It's a waste of my time. Just stop doing it. Like, save it with every choice. Make it easy for me.
It doesn't even need to be every choice. Just like whenever you get to a new screen where it has to load before the next scene.
Yeah.
Like that to me is a signifier. I assume because I got to that load screen, okay, I can quit now because clearly we're onto something new, so it's saved. I don't like that seems like really obvious. I can't believe they wouldn't do it on those loading screens.
I don't know I don't know if it's like the tech. I don't know what it is, but it's just they need to fix that. If we're going to get into the technical shit about these Telltale games, then that's one of the things they need to fix.
I didn't even mention that I had like a system breaking glitch.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Where it's right before Vasquez is killed, he says the word super, and it got caught on the word super in an endless loop like a scratch record. Just over and over and over again, and I couldn't even turn off my system. I had to unplug my PS4.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah, it was.
I'll have to research that and see if I can find it on YouTube, because that sounds hilarious just watching it. But I can imagine
it's really not hilarious in the moment where you're just like, oh my god, I have to do this again.
Speaking of glitches, I forgot I wanted to say this back when we did the finale to Batman a long time ago, but there was a glitch, a really funny one, where whenever the people were fighting in Arkham, everyone had invisible heads, and they just had like their eyes and mouths whenever they would fight.
To me before.
That was hilarious, and it like
it's
ruined
almost
the whole
that
scene.
way.
It's not when it's trying to be like dramatic as shit, and then you have these like goofy faceless people walking around punching each other.
Yeah.
Their bodies didn't even load in. It was just a bunch of clothes hitting each other.
Oh, that's so good.
It sucks. It's funny, but it sucks.
Yeah.
Ugh. Thankfully, I haven't run anything egregious in Guardians of the Galaxy yet, which does get better in the second episode. I'll give it that.
Good.
It's not great, but it does get significantly better than the crappy first episode.
Well, good.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna buy fucking Minecraft Season 2. No, thank you.
I will. I for the most part.
Not now, but
despite some issues with the last episode of the first season, I did enjoy Minecraft for the most part. I think I like overall Minecraft more than Tales from the Borderlands.
Oh, I don't know. After that, the Minecraft community guest stars episode, I can't do that. I can't go.
Well,
that far.
I have not played that one yet. To be fair,
then you
I have
haven't
not played any of the
all
bonus
of
episodes.
Minecraft. You need the adventure pack, my boy.
Oh, I'll get there.
You need to go on that fucking adventure. Trapped in a manor with all these annoying fucking Minecraft people.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Nice murder mystery with Stampy Longnose. That's how I know all these. I never knew any of those fucking people until my friend, who's like little brother, is big into Minecraft and has to like watch all these damn Minecraft videos with him, was like, oh yeah, this is that person and there's that person, and I'm just like, what? Who?
Oh man.
Like, yeah. And they're coming back for season 2, which hooray!
Oh, that's great.
Hooray! That was the first. They paired that announcement up with the announcement of season 2. Like when they're like, "Oh, we're gonna announce something special," and I'm like, "Oh my God, Wolf Among Us season 2," and then they're like, "No, it's Minecraft." I'm like, ugh. And I'm like, and guess what? Here's all the guest stars from that one episode you hated of Minecraft. Ugh.
Oh man.
Fuck off. I'll wait. I'll wait. So anyway, that was Tales from the Borderlands. It's probably my favorite episode so far.
Yeah, I think it's probably safe to say this is not going to be changing any of our rankings.
No, hell no.
Yeah, we probably don't even need to go for that.
If we were doing a bottom one, sure, that would be there, but top? Fuck no.
Yeah.
No. So anyway, we'll be back with the next episode, which is, I'll look up the name when we do the next episode.
Okay.
So, but I do remember really liking the next episode. Like, the next episode is legit really fucking good, in my opinion. Like, from what I can remember. But that doesn't really mean anything, I guess, when I remember this episode being really good. So, we'll see. At least I know serious shit happens in the next episode. So
Sure.
that already gives me a lot more hope that my opinion of it will hold up significantly.
Right.
So, anyway, Jordan, where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter at @5th_opinion.
And I'm on YouTube at RazorBladeMango. And we also have a Twitter page for this podcast, which is at a Telltale Pod, capital A, capital T, capital P. And yes, Jordan, I know it doesn't matter, but I'm going to fucking say it anyway.
Well, as long as you know.
Yes, I know, but I like saying that.
All right. I'll allow it.
Good. All right. Alrighty. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you like what you're hearing, subscribe, and we will see you guys on the next episode. Take care. Bye.
See ya.